Good morning. I think this is streaming. I'm in a bit of a black hole, signal wise. Hello, how are you doing? It's been quite a long time since I've done a live actually. I can't remember the last time I jumped on here. Life just pulls you in lots of different directions, doesn't it? And you end up focusing on all kinds of things, but let's just show you this sky. Now, this was beautiful blue, clear sky this morning, and then we've had the planes out, and within a very short amount of time, they were actually out last night as well. Andy and I were in the garden. It was a really lovely day yesterday, and it was warm enough to get the fire pit going, and so we sat out and watched a film by the fire, which was lovely. But we could see there were some vague streaks then, and yeah, so today, another day has been, I won't say ruined, but look at this. So many things to be angry about. This is one of them. So many things to be absolutely infuriated by, and I was thinking this morning about this. There's a trap around seeking freedom, and that trap is when you get into that cycle of it's you're demanding freedom, you're asking for freedom, you're asking for freedom to be granted by somebody or entities outside of yourself, when the truth actually is that we are always free. It's an illusion that we're not free, and this is what this whole matrix is based on. It's founded on the lie that we're not inherently free. And it's very easy and completely understandable to, like I say, get really, really angry, and to have, there is righteous anger there, which is, is very potent, very useful. But if it's coming, again, it's coming from that position of there is a power outside of you that has the authority to give or take your freedom, which is actually your natural state of being. All of us. It's not something that can actually be taken. It's an illusion. We believe that's the case, and so that's what we experience. But freedom, it truly is a state that you embody. And when we are embodying that freedom, knowing it, feeling it, living it 100%, there's no question of that freedom being, it's not possible for it to ever be taken from us. And so all of these things that are based on it's fear, that's the only thing that stitches this whole system together. This illusion is through fear, and of course that fear is that we're not free, we're not in control, we're not the authority of our lives. And the more and more people do begin to step into that power, and it's happening, it is happening, and it's something that's actually kind of beyond, it's an energy shift. So it's happening regardless of of whether people are really conscious or aware of it or not. Many of us are, and it's a very difficult time, it's very challenging. But the more and more people do step into their power and that sense of freedom, that absolute knowing, it's that innate, it's just how it is. It's undeniable. It's the way things are. Then the shit show falls apart. The shit show it disintegrates in that moment, because whether it's on an individual or collective basis, when you are free, and that means free of fear, so you're free of coercion, there's no impetus to comply with things that absolutely go against your soul, then what do they have? They have nothing. The matrix is an illusion. It's entirely based on the premise of fear and this belief that others have ultimate control or power over you, and it's simply not true. And actually it's a lot more simple than it seems. We can work this out for ourselves, because we all know that we can choose how we respond to the out there, to whatever's going on. And of course we can be pulled in this direction, that direction, and it can feel very much like we don't have control at all. But actually we know there is no universal set of responses to every circumstance, every situation, everything that can happen. It's all entirely down to the individual. And when we start to really tune into that and start to understand that we are always at choice when it comes to our responses and reactions, that we're not just going to follow that completely conditioned habitual response, the patterns, which is how they get to read us so well, and they can predict. Because if we don't intercept our own process, our own conditioned process, then yes, it's very, very predictable how human beings will react to situations and events, and because they're just mindlessly following that conditioning that's been manipulated for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. But when we do actually realise, yes, okay, stop here, take a breather, and choose to respond in a different way, in that moment you realise your power and control. It's all in the mind. Freedom is a state of mind, and I've just been thinking very much about that balance between taking those actions where we are refusing to follow the agenda and everything that entails, but not being cap in hand, we're not asking for something back, because it's never been taken. It's that real taking of responsibility, is to realise that actually the power is within me, and it always has been, and anything else is a complete fabrication and illusion. And you just imagine when you've got hundreds of thousands, millions of people realising that, and the fear is evaporating, and then the world's our oyster. It's all down to us. It's just that little shift in perception. It doesn't mean that we stop taking action in the world and doing whatever it is that we're drawn to do, but just changing that approach, like where we're coming from, knowing that we're free already and that we do not need to be wrenching it back, or, you know, that's actually further empowering them in a sense, because it's that there's still that belief that they have something of ours that we need. No, they don't. No, they don't. It's just wake up from the illusion that our freedom lies outside of ourselves, and it can be bestowed or granted or given back, because, you know, the powers that should not be, say they fall, but that understanding isn't there, that it's our freedom is ours always, then there's always the possibility of exploitation again on any level at all. That's not possible when you're truly awake. It can't happen. And so you cannot have situations like we see in the world now happen in the first place. So this truly is all by consent. It's 100% our consent that keeps this going. So yeah, that's just my thoughts for this morning. I'm going to head back under the lovely oak tree. Right, the standers gathered. We've got our chairs out today. It was a lot sunnier, like I said. Yeah, those skies are kind of, the blue skies have disappeared, unfortunately. Hey ho. Sending you lots of love. I will speak to you soon. Take care. Peace.